Now to Consumer 10, the Ohio Chamber of Commerce 2022 State of Business Summit was held last night in the rotunda of the Ohio State House. The keynote speaker was JPMorgan Chase Chairman and CEO Dimon. Chamber President Steve Stivers moderated this fireside chat with Dimon, but right before he sat down with me in an interview you'll only see right here on 10 TV. Do you think large corporations should be taking stances on, major policies, such as potential Supreme Court decisions on abortion rights, so to speak, and even gender and sexuality being taught in the classroom? There are some major corporations that have come out publicly on this. Just what are your thoughts on that?
I think you have to be very careful on this one. So we support proper voting rights totally. But when you talk about the voting laws that the state passes, there's usually 100 things in there. And you might sit here and say, well, I support 50, but not the other 50. Same with some of these bills for gender in schools, and same for some of these other things. So you have to be very careful. You say support. We support the LGBT community 100%. That doesn't mean that every law that someone passes, we agree with every piece of it. And so I don't think corporate America should become a weapon for either the left or the right and adopt those things. We still can have our principles, and there are times you should fight those principles. But I read those laws very carefully. We have, and every one of these things you probably would agree with some, and now with the others. Why should we become a weapon for somebody else?
Now, what does that mean for some of the branches you have in most states? And some of those states have those laws.
Yeah. So when we have something to say, we'll say it.
A very fascinating conversation. We also talked about the war in Ukraine and sanctions, inflation. Of course, everyone is talking about that, and interest rate hikes if he thinks they're aggressive enough. So we're going to have that conversation later this week right here on Wake Up CBUS.
He sounds like he really believes in that corporate citizenship. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, like corporations really doing their part too. So it was a fascinating sit down with him, and we'll bring it to you coming up. And the entire thing will be posted online on Friday.
Well, what great insight into someone who really has such influence, right?
Yes.
When it comes to the finance world, but also the community.
And yeah, largest employer here in Columbus too, JPMorgan Chase. So
sure.
a lot of those employees might want to watch for one of those answers that he has got coming up as well
notes.
about the new headquarters that are in New York City. So stay tuned for that.